Kelly Barlow Creations. If you're new to my channel and you're stopping by for the first time, thank you for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. Stick around a while by clicking that red button for more crafting on a budget, more everything on a budget videos to come. And if you click it again when the bell appears, YouTube should notify you every time I'm uploading a new video, depending on the option that you choose in the drop-down menu of the bell. If you're interested in following me on social media, you can find those links in the description box below. What have I got going on for you for today? Can I just tell you that this is the 5th time I think that I have filmed this intro, and for one reason or another, it's just not working for me. The struggle is real. Today I am bringing to you a 100% Dollar Tree farmhouse headboard for a bed. You heard me right. I am bringing to you a farmhouse headboard using 100% Dollar Tree items. This is such a budget-friendly headboard and the outcome is amazing. This challenge was brought to me about 4 months ago by a subscriber, and she challenged me to do a headboard using 100% Dollar Tree items, and she wanted it in the farmhouse decor style. I am so excited about this because I am making this for a friend of mine, and so this is not a piece that I'm going to be keeping, but it is a piece that I am making and I will be gifting to her. She knows it's being made, she knows how it's going to look, and I will say it took me a couple of months to come up with something that I was happy with. I have done a couple other ones that I just wasn't happy with, and so I kind of trashed them, and that is just how it works with doing DIYs like this. You kind of get an idea in your head of what you want to do, and then when you implement it and you do it, it just doesn't always come out the way you liked it, or sometimes it comes out better than you expected. And in this case, 3rd time was a charm. This headboard came out amazing. It is very budget friendly and you are going to love this. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into it and let me show you what I've come up with for a 100% Dollar Tree farmhouse headboard for your bed. Oh my word, Kayla is back by popular demand doing a voiceover on today's headboard DIY. So if you want a really good laugh, make sure to head on over to her channel and hear her take on this DIY. You can find the link to her video in the description box below. For this headboard, you're gonna need 7 pieces of foam board. I'm showing more here because I really wasn't sure how many I was gonna need. In the end, it was 7. You'll see that most of the foam board at the Dollar Tree is kind of arched or warped a little bit. So when you're putting these together, you're gonna wanna make sure that they're all warped the same way. Now, taking some of Dollar Tree's duct tape, I'm using this white one because again, it was what I had on hand. You're gonna need 1 full roll of this if you don't have it already. I'm gonna place some of the tape on one edge of the foam board because I'm going to attach 3 pieces of foam board together side by side, and I found that it was a lot easier to do if you put the tape on one side halfway and then you kind of flip it over so the tacky part is up. Then you can lay your 2nd piece of foam board right next to it and you're gonna get a nice tight fitting of your foam board. You don't want gaps in there. You want them to be as close together as you can. And you can see that by doing it this way, we've got a nice tight fit. Once I've got them taped together, I'm gonna take more duct tape and I'm gonna tape them together on the back side as well. Once I've got those first 2 pieces taped together, I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 more full piece of foam board to the side. The size that I'm making today is for a queen size, so if you're making one for a twin or a king, you're just gonna have to measure the width of your bed and measure out the foam boards to see how many you're gonna need and just kind of alter it that way. Once these 3 boards are taped together, you can see that it's pretty sturdy. It's not super flimsy, and we're also gonna reinforce it a bit, so I wouldn't worry about it. If you wanna use plywood or real wood, you totally can. There are some people that just don't like working with wood or having to go to the hardware store, and they would rather work with something that is accessible to them items from the Dollar Tree. Not only is this a great alternative because it's foam, but it's gonna make it a super lightweight headboard. I mean, this headboard is not even gonna weigh 5 pounds. But again, it's gonna look rustic, it's gonna be farmhouse, and it's gonna look amazing. And like I said, it is using 100% Dollar Tree items. Now, I'm gonna tape these 3 together because this is gonna give us the height of the headboard. If you wanna alter the height and make it shorter, you can. You're gonna just have to cut some of the length off of your foam board. But honestly, stacking 2 sets of 3 together, in my opinion, made the perfect height. For the width of a queen bed, just taping the 3 foam boards together side by side wasn't quite long enough. It was about 3 inches short of the width that I was happy with. And so I'm gonna take another piece of foam board, which would be our last piece, and using a ruler, I'm gonna measure 2 pieces out at 3 inches wide because we need to add 3 inches to both rows of 3. Really, a trick to cutting foam board is using a brand new sharp razor blade. If you are not using a newer blade, your foam is going to wrinkle and kind of gather up in the cut. But if you use a brand new blade and you use a ruler like you see I'm using here as a guide, you're gonna get a nice clean edge here, and you can see that it's a perfect cut. And so I'm gonna do that 2 times because like I said, I needed 2 pieces of this. And when you do this, you really wanna put a fair amount of pressure on that blade. And it's really, like I said, gonna cut through the foam board nicely. When taping these 2 pieces on it, I'm gonna do it a bit differently. On the first set of 3, I'm gonna tape it to one end here, and then on the second set of 3, I'm gonna tape it to the opposite end so it's not kind of a weak point on the headboards. And now I am going to place the 2 sets of foam boards together and tape them down the middle. And so you can see here how there is the 3-inch piece here at the bottom on this side, and then the other 3-inch piece is on the other side. And I just want to clarify that because I'm using tape that I had in my stash and the tape isn't going to show, I didn't have a new full roll of tape. I am now going to be using this teal tape. So in the middle here, I want to strengthen this weak point because I don't want the headboard to buckle. So taking the rest of my foam board, I just went ahead and cut it in half. I'm gonna place it in the center, and for this I'm gonna use hot glue because I feel like the hot glue is really gonna hold it together better. Paper on paper is gonna work perfect, and these 2 pieces aren't gonna go anywhere. Some of you may be looking at this thinking, oh my word, Kelly, you've really lost it. You're making a headboard out of foam board, but I promise you, if you stick with me to the end, the outcome is well worth it. In one of my hauls, I had shown you this craft paper roll. It's kind of a table runner that I found at the Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree has craft paper rolls all the time. I'm gonna use this to cover up the back side of this headboard. Now, this isn't something you have to do, but I wanna make this as finished and nice as I can because I am not keeping this headboard. I am giving it away. And so I just feel like it would be tacky if I gave it away with this all showing on the back side. And so I figured an easy remedy to that is just to kind of cover it up like they do a picture frame. You see this paper on the back of a picture frame all the time covering up the mess that's back there. And so I thought, why not? It'll work for the back of this as well. And luckily, 1 roll was actually all I needed for this. And would you look at that? Just like that, we covered up that hot mess on the back with 1 roll of Dollar Tree's craft paper. Now let's get to the good stuff. Let me show you what it is that I am using for this headboard that is gonna make it look so rustic and farmhouse. I can hardly stand it. This is one of those pieces that is a versatile piece because I will be using these Tool Bench hardware self-adhesive wood grain wall tiles. These are a 12 by 12 adhesive tile. The Dollar Tree did carry in the store for a little bit, but you know what? I'm not seeing them in the store, and so I have gone online several times to check just to make sure that you can order them online. And just this morning at 7:45, I screenshotted this. They have all of the tiles in stock, and you can see that they have 4 different styles. So if you don't like the farmhouse style, you can go with the white tile, you can go with the black tile, you can go with that modern mosaic, and you're gonna need 20 tiles for this. And don't forget, if you do order it online, you can have it shipped for free to your local Dollar Tree for in-store pickup. These adhesive tiles are so stinking easy to use. You just peel back this clear covering and it exposes all of the adhesive on the back, and would you look at how sticky these are? I gotta be honest, I'm super surprised at the quality and how sticky these are. When placing these tiles across, I guess, the width of the headboard, you're gonna be able to place 5 full tiles. And once you reach the end, you're gonna have that 3-inch area that isn't covered. I'm gonna take a tile, I'm gonna place it on the edge there, and just using my straight edge razor and a cutting mat and my ruler as a guide, I'm gonna cut off that extra piece, just giving me a nice clean cut. You'll see that once you cut the tile, it kind of opens up. It separates the tile from the adhesive backing. If you just take your glue gun and run it along that side edge, it'll close that tile right up. Now don't throw this piece away because we're gonna use it at the end on the next row. When placing the second row, I'm going to start on the end that I finished on because I want to offset the tiles. I think it would look funny if all of the tiles kind of lined up and matched up, and so I'm gonna start on this end here and offset them and finish off on this opposite end. And by the power of YouTube, here we are. I have done 3 rows using a total of, I believe, 17 total tiles. And that is including the ones that I cut. I used, I think, 1.5 actually to cut. And so I used 16.5 tiles to be exact. Now for the bottom half of this, I want to finish this off. I want the sides on the bottom to still have the tile. But before I get to that, I'm going to use the rest of my craft paper on this bottom half to cover up the foam board. And when you see most headboards anyway, usually this is an empty area. It's just kind of like a cutout space, and you've got just the, I guess, the 2 legs on each side of your headboard that are gonna, I guess, screw into the bed frame. But because I don't have a bed frame that this can screw into, I have an existing bed frame that's already there, but it doesn't have any holes, and I don't really need to screw this into that anyway because it's such a light piece. I figured I would just go ahead and hot glue the rest of this paper here and then finish off the sides with my last 2 or 3 tiles. You'll see here on the sides at the bottom that the pieces that I put off to the side are a bit thicker than the pieces that we ended each row with. I think the pieces that I ended each row with were about 3 inches. And I think for the sides down at the bottom of this headboard, I went with 6 inches. I just cut the tile in half so I could utilize the last 2 tiles evenly. And I figured that that'd be good enough that when this is up against the mattress, you're not gonna see the craft paper, and it's gonna finish off the headboard nicely all the way down to the ground. And here we have it, a Dollar Tree farmhouse headboard that is not completely done yet because we've got to finish off these edges. These edges are not clean enough for me. I feel like it needs a finishing touch. And there are a couple ways that you can go about finishing off the top edge here. One of which would be you can finish it off with these, I want to say these are like a 1x1. This is a wood piece that you can get at Lowe's, and you can completely frame the headboard with this on the top and the sides just by gluing it or nailing it. These pieces run about $1.98 to $2.50 a piece. So if you wanted to add another $6 to this, you could finish it off with the wood. This was not an option for me for 2 reasons. 1, I wanted to make this 100% Dollar Tree, and 2, my friend wanted me to finish it off with the decorative nautical rope. And so she's got some of that rope vibe in her room already on her lamp, and so we thought that this was the perfect finishing touch. To do that, I'm using 3 sets of rope because One set, I feel like just using the one singular rope, it was gonna be too thin. And so by placing 3 of them together and just placing some hot glue on one rope and then just kind of stacking 2 next to it, you can see how I'm doing it. It's gonna give it a thicker rope look. And I used a total of 3, and the entire length of all 3 I glued the way I'm gluing it here. I thought about braiding the rope initially, and I really just didn't like the look of it braided. I thought about twisting it, but then when I twisted it, there were kind of gaps. And so I just figured that it was best just to go with the rope this way. And in the end, my friend liked it better this way anyway. And so I started off on the top of my headboard in the middle, and I had actually kind of folded the rope in half to get the center point so it would be even on each side. And then I'm just gonna use some hot glue and hot glue it all the way around and down. I gotta tell you, I am really liking the look of this headboard. I think that this is an easy, budget-friendly alternative. And in all honesty, I think that this headboard maybe took me a total of 1 hour and 20 minutes from start to finish to put together because it's so easy. It's super lightweight, and it cost me $30 to make. Flip it over, there's a nice finished look on the back. To put this up, I figured that the best way to do this is you could just lean it up against your wall and push your mattress up against it, but the top of it might come away from the wall about 1 inch. And so to prevent that from happening, I'm just gonna use some of these Command Velcro strips. I'm gonna put 3 of them across the top, and I'm gonna go ahead and just push my mattress and bed frame up to it, and it's gonna look like it is all one piece. A queen size headboard that is made out of 100% Dollar Tree items for the bargain price of $30. I could not be happier with the outcome of this headboard. I feel like it doesn't get any more rustic or farmhouse than this. I think that you really can't tell that there's a difference, that this is a piece of foam board that you just covered with these Dollar Tree tiles. I love how this quilt just kind of ties into the wood of the tiles. If you're interested in this quilt, this is a quilt that I found at Walmart by Mainstays. For a queen size, it was $29.99, and the pillow shams were, I believe, $6.96 a piece, which was a bit pricey, but I didn't mind paying them because I wanted the king size pillow shams. If you go with the standard, I believe it was $3.96, but I think it was the perfect finishing touch to add to this farmhouse headboard. I hope you all enjoyed today's Dollar Tree farmhouse headboard. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and let's get this video to 6,000 likes because I am so excited about the outcome of this one. And just remember that each and every one of your thumbs up and those comments that you leave down below, they really do help my channel to grow, and it helps YouTube to notice me just a bit more. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy crafting on a budget, happy everything on a budget. And bye for now, everybody.